Good evening. I hope all of you are well. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for being here for this winter course here in New Delhi. As always, it is very, very inspiring for me to be able to see all of you here with the practitioners and coordinators here residing here in Kibi, and of course in the past few days, according to the schedule, I was not able to attend to our gatherings here, and for that I apologize. And now, starting from today and then till the next few days, the remaining days of our program, I hope I will be able to offer you the best possible how to say interactions possible, and well, beside that, then what I truly appreciate, beside your being here, is that it's not just you yourself being here, of course, but partaking the practices, particularly not just the programs, of course, but also the main practice, which is the Sojong practice, and for that I truly appreciate. And this is a practice that we regard very, very highly among all the practices, or among all the programs that we attend, because this is something that is doable, in our compared, how do we say this? I forget the word, but basically during our time, this is one practice that we can do from the very beginning until the end, without many obstacles, actually. One wholesome practice, basically, because otherwise many of our practices that we try to accomplish are either too long or receptive to complications, mainly because of our daily schedule and so on. Of course, we don't want to make a meal, or we don't want to make. It's an English expression, meal out of it, which somehow means that make it too difficult and complicated. and so, in this regard, such a practice as Sojong is not too a difficult practice, because it's simply observing a particular set of routines from sunrise till from one sunrise till the next sunrise, and so therefore it's just 24 hours, and so since you have already scheduled yourselves to come all the way here, to observe such a practice is easy to manage, I suppose it's a problem of management, yeah. So in that sense, it's easy to manage, it's easy to observe. It's a strange word to use, but observe, it goes a long way, no matter how strange the word, because what else can we do? Yes, what else can we do? Is there really something to do? Do we have control over anything? No, we don't. Yeah, we don't really have a grasp or grip over anything. It's constant, not to say chaos, but constant happening of so many things, and so therefore it's how do I say this? Well, it's therefore a thing to observe. Yeah. We would like to create all kinds of imaginations, yes, about either this way or that way, about having control, or the other way, no control at all, And so, what does that I don't know, imply, or what happens, due to those two thoughts? Probably we are more or less forced to think that it's a choice, It's two extremes, Either we try to desperately try to hang on to some form of control, or the other way, no control at all. And as a result, then obviously it's something well, not to say unnatural, but then the whole point of being born as a human being almost becomes meaningless, no reason sort of thing. And so Yeah, we can go, therefore, back to the word, this English term, observe or observation. It's a sort of a fine line between saying, do we involve or do we not involve? And what is the in between, you know? What is the borderline? And it begs us to think that way, feel that way, that is there a borderline? And the best or the most common thing you might have heard for the longest time from anyone is, we don't know. Yeah. Probably that's the most honest answer. And so therefore, terms like observation, watching, viewing, looking, whereas if you use terms like thinking, then it falls into, again, those extremes, you know. So therefore, often we are obliged to think in, we are obliged to use terms like observation, which means probably it's the most in-between way of, well, in-between is not the right way to convey it, but nevertheless, probably that's the only way, is to view it to be in a position, to be making the most of this human existence, to view it in a way that is most beneficial. So, observation. So, 24 hours, from one sunrise till the next sunrise, what does really happen? Well, we can go back to the common answer, we don't know, so that we are as honest as possible. But hopefully, during those 24 hours, you know, and so, of course, all of you are here, are supposed to have, or supposed to attend a succession of such sunrises, and then hopefully what is supposed to take place is that you become more aware of various things. We have common terms like looking at the mind, looking at ourselves, not outwardly, you know. It's just tweaks of adjustment, yeah. Because we really don't know whether we are looking inwardly or whether we are looking outwardly. We just don't know. Maybe there are certain occasions where we are doing one particular thing. But it's safe to say, according to the classical assessment, that we are most likely looking outward. Yeah. But we don't know what that is. Yeah. What is looking outward? Yes, our composition, you know, of our being is such that we have two sets of eyes, two sets of ears, I don't know how to call it, nostrils, and various faculties that are there, poised in such a way that is intended, well, not maybe, we don't know if it's intended, but nevertheless it is situated, it is composed in such a way That is, as if there was a designer, it is designed to look outward, to focus outward. And so therefore, it is most probable that we may be focusing outward. But how much are we really focusing outward or inward? Meaning, it doesn't mean to say, put earplugs in our ears and close our eyes and not breathe, of course, or not eat, and so on. It's just if we reduce those activities to the minimum, but barely enough, in order to be able to sustain this physical condition, then we are not denying this physical structure, yet at the same time, with the reduction of what seems like a very natural composition, what are we able to understand, realize? I think probably that's the whole point. And so, therefore, of course, the term Sojong means to somehow replenish or to recuperate, well, basically many terms that in English terms begins with re, re, Nevertheless, the whole point of it is that we give ourselves enough time, enough opportunity to be able to observe exactly what happens. Yeah. It's like saying, if you open the windows, and doors, normally the idea of it is sort of to ventilate, of course, yeah, to recycle air. But obviously, Buddhism is not about saying, either if there's pollution out there, then to say, of course, the common logic is that if there's pollution, smog and so on out there, close the windows, close the doors. If it's cold, do the same in order to keep the warmth, Yet at the same time, during summertime, then probably do the opposite or something. And so therefore, is Buddhism, according to what this practice of Sojong says, is it about just closing all the vents, Obviously not, and the shortcut. It's, well, no, I don't have to say much after that, because then the common logic is there, that it's about knowing when to open the doors, when to open the windows, and when to close them too. Yeah. So, of course, that begs the idea of balance, and so on, which kind of, after hearing that for a long period of time or in succession, then it becomes a bore to hear that, because I've heard this from health experts. I don't know what are the terms for experts in terms of insulation. And so, yes, in the past few days, I was kind of trying to recover certain things, and I realized that actually insulation is important, and with the hope that objects won't how to say, be damaged by somehow due to the change of extreme weather, that you kind of encapsulate them in very confined environments. In short, plastic, you know. Then I was very surprised to see that actually those objects that were encapsulated in cloth was way better. Even though there is extreme weather here, the fabric of cloth somehow happened to protect the objects better, rather than plastics or other confinements, you know. And so therefore, that was a discovery for me, you know, in a very mundane way. Yeah, nothing. Well, it wasn't a transmission that I got from some high masters or something. I just happened to wrap certain objects in cloth and some in plastic, you know, Ziplocs. Yes. And those that were in Ziplocs were the most damaged ones, whereas those that were wrapped in cloths were doing quite okay. And then I don't know what happened to me, but I took the plastic and put it over my mouth and just I tried to breathe, and of course I couldn't breathe. Whereas I took the same cloth and put it over my mouth, and I could breathe, you know. And it was weird, yes. After doing it, I thought, what is wrong with me? But it's one of those strange things that happens, you know. And so, yes, I don't know, cloth. Maybe we have to be like a cloth, I don't know. I don't know, terms like insulation, replacement of the word balance. Probably insulation comes into being when we are trying to talk about sojong, you know, which not the, you know, dead term, you know, insulate, but insulation maybe, or insulating, I don't know. Translators might be having a lot of headache, but nevertheless, I don't see many earpieces, so I suppose not too much of a headache. But yes, because balance, it's not that I'm against balance, but it's a term that we have probably overused, you know, and so therefore we are by now allergic to it, maybe, yes. So, we have to be, well, not to be, but maybe there is a benefit in just by playing with language, let's say. Maybe we will arrive at an understanding point, you know. And so, yes, so Sojong is not a practice of restriction, yes. Of course we say Sojong vows, yes, restriction. And those who are spiritually militarized, feel, yes, now we are onto something. But obviously it's not exactly that. Well, we are just using traditional and classical terms since maybe we don't have enough time to familiarize with day-to-day terms, and so therefore, what is the safest way? To use classical terms, so that we don't go wrong. Well, the Tibetan term is Dompa, It's like, I was trying to understand what the term Dompa, where it came from. And the closest thing I could come to was one animal, spider. Because we have a childish term, a very colloquial term for spiders, which is Dombara, It's a Tibetan term. But then I was trying to now elevate that colloquial term into something more sophisticated in Tibetan, and then I realized that actually we do use that colloquial term in a higher state, which is the term that we kind of know, which maybe we have become allergic to it already also, without knowing, I don't know, which is the term that we use a lot to define one particular practice or deity, which is the Chakrasambhara, and in Tibetan, called Dompa, So, and then it's interesting. The more you look into it, more you zoom into it, it's interesting because it makes you think about now what is the relation. I'm trying to think between Chakrasambhara and spider. And the closest thing I can think of is that of a spider's web. So maybe the closest thing is Sojong web, or Sojong net, or Sojong, not necessarily Sojong vow, but net. So net or web. Web probably is more common to us because we use www, yes, every day. By now, we don't even know about www. The moment I said www, by the time it has become two W's, we are already thinking either the World Wrestling Champion, or we are thinking of a panda image, in order to finish the next third W. WWF. So, but the point is, coming back, yes, the point is that, yes, it's like a net, it's like a web. And so, Sojong web, I don't know, Sojong net or something like that. Vow, maybe we can turn it into net or web. It's saying, then we have to get into the idea of fishing. It's very interesting, yes, because I'm sure there must be dohas about web by Tilopa. I forget which one it was, Tilopa or Naropa, who was a fisher. Naropa, Tilopa, yes. That to be able to fish, you need to have the right kind of net, of course. And nowadays, probably it's more relevant about fishing more than ever. Now, I'm not going into the topic of vegetarian and non-vegetarian here in this session or the next sessions also. So I'm freeing myself from that dilemma. Because we don't know who is a vegetarian and who is not a vegetarian in this hall. But nevertheless, I'm trying to focus on the subject of Sojong, where the term vow comes into being. We have a certain, well, not headache, but it's not really something to do with emotion, you know. But it's like saying, I want to be well, but at the same time, in order to be well, I don't want to follow the method of being well, and so what to do, you know. And so since we have that kind of dilemma, then starting from the very first term, the vows, becomes a challenge, of course. And so therefore, how to deal with it. So I'm trying to focus on that, and that's why I'm talking about the web or the net. And so therefore, if you are, it's possible that one of you are maybe fishers, or you may have a friend, then you can discover a lot, you know, about the net. Yeah. Of course, we have modern, well, somewhat modern terminology, network. Yes. So therefore, it's very interesting because the vow, it's like knowing what kind of network, what kind of webbing is required, you know. Because some of us might need high dosage of ventilation. Yeah. Some of us might not need that much. Yeah. It's possible. And it's also, you know, from succession of, let's say, present moment, rather than saying what I need now and what I need in the future. It's not like that. It's according to the situation, according to the moment, you know, rather than saying now and then later. Instead, it's more about, I think, now, and the next now is another situation, yes? And so accordingly, what kind of network we need? You know, not that kind of network where you can see, oh, I need to now mingle, you know, in order to create a network, not in that sense. But network in a sense that ventilation in a way, yeah? And so therefore, then now the fishers are able to recognize in this pond, in this lake, in this river, in this part of the ocean, how much can we fish, how much can we not, you know. Of course we have terms like fishing with, I don't know, according to ecology and so on, yes. So that, of course, the term is that we have enough fish next time, yes. But in this case, that idea, the theory, not actual netting, but the idea of it, yes. We are trying to get into that. Because how much of an ventilation we need, yes. And so, yes, we get the right kind of oxygen, so to speak. We receive the right kind of communication, interaction, and so on. Yeah. Because maybe some of us may be interacting more than is necessary, and some of us may be not interacting enough, and so net, web. And so therefore, the practice of Sojong is therefore a way to see, it's the practice itself. Probably it's some form of webbing, but it's not completely, sealed also. Yet at the same time, it's not completely wide open as well. It's more of a temporary solution, so that one has enough time to be able to focus, to be able to observe. Now I said it already, either how much are we focusing outward and inward, and then to basically to have a good idea. Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah. Because we have these ideas, extreme ideas, that I need to confront myself. I need to, or the other way is that I need to relax, have a personal space, or the other way I really need to engage. We don't know. I mean, nice terms, but we don't know what it means. And in this case, it's in this case of Sojong, then without saying we have to do this or we don't have to do that, it gives us the right amount of space, the right amount of opportunity to see what is the condition of my mind, So, therefore, I'm very happy that you're being honest to yourselves, actually, or we are being honest to ourselves. That we're not saying we will do something impossible, and become too dramatic. Yet at the same time, we're not trying to demean ourselves by thinking, this, the best possible way is being too humbled, and to say, I cannot do anything, and almost to a point where we become too pessimistic in a way. So instead, the Sojong is sort of the right approach, the healthy approach, to give ourselves enough time. Yeah. So we can just count how old we are, or how young we are in terms of the number of ages that we have lived, and then reduce down from years to months, months to weeks, weeks to days, days to hours, and so on, and see how much of an opportunity we've had to reflect, to observe, and then accordingly we kind of realize, well, not to depress ourselves to say, oh, we have wasted so much time, but to kind of realize how much of an opportunity there was actually, yeah. And possibly if I'm to survive from till the next sunrise, meaning tomorrow, how much of an opportunity there still is, to capture my mind or capture myself. And then, without talking about too much about the four thoughts that turns our mind away from samsara and so on a practical base, we will realize, okay, what is possible, And then in a, well, now I have to use the term balanced approach, we will realize how much of an opportunity there is to see myself, It's like saying the mirror was always there, but I suddenly realized that it's there. So then, accordingly, we look into the mirror, hopefully more and more. And then hopefully something happens, yeah. Because the practice itself, now what we build on top of that realization of seeing ourselves, they are not that heavy as it seems. Yes, in terms of the moment we use a measuring tool, obviously it makes it heavy, I need this many years of study, this many years of practice, this many lifetimes of accumulation and so on. The moment we use a measuring tool, of course it becomes heavy. But let's say, for our sanity's sake, we don't use that measuring tool. It's there on the side, but let's say we don't use it. Then it's interesting, because the idea of weight is not there, and simply we are just so we are just simply reflecting, we are just simply looking. Yes. The practice itself is just like any other activities that we engage in every day. That it's more about probably a habit for now, in terms of if you live long enough in a certain environment, then either you develop the habit to say hello when you meet a stranger, or you develop the opposite. When you meet a stranger, you just, you don't say hello, but that's about it. And there is not much of a real practice going on, but it's just a habit that can form over time by either being in a certain environment or letting yourself develop a certain habit. So it's the same thing, I think. Of course, we consider saying hello is, we consider that as being, I don't know, humane, nice, but of course, if done too much, then again become that hello, that practice of hello, saying hello, become a nuisance, of course, at the same time. But in this case, all I'm saying is that it is as simple as developing a habit. Yeah. That's it. So any habit can be formed, and so therefore practice is not that heavy. Yeah. So, yes, now without saying too much and taking too much time, today, of course, we have the Chenrezig meditation to focus on, but nevertheless, observation, Sojung Vow, I wanted to try to connect that with, for example, the practice of Chenrezig, because what I'm trying to think out loud is that it's not that difficult, actually, to perform a certain practice. And at the same time, in terms of the value of any practice, is such as the practice of Sojung, that it encapsulates everything, such as, should we have doubts about are we in line with the higher practices, you know? I don't know, higher tantra or higher meditation and so on. Yes, of course, the conventional way of smoothing out is to say, yes, this is the ground level, you know, to legitimize by saying, you know, it's in line with, for example, Mahamudra, you know. And then we reciprocate that by further legitimizing by saying, you know, without it, without the samadhi or without this particular practice, then we cannot attain Mahamudra and so on, yes. But another way of putting it is that not forcefully by saying this is Mahamudra and so on, is that it's just a beginning of a conversation, that's it. We cannot say it's the actual beginning, or now we are in the middle, now we are at the end, you know. This is just conversation. Yeah. The actual Sojung, the actual Mahamudra, we just don't know. Where it begins, where it ends, we have no idea. All we can do at this present moment, or any present moment, is accommodation. And the better the accommodation, the better, hopefully, the practice, you know. And so we just try to accommodate as best as possible. Yeah. And so now, if we are doing the sojong, then it's the best possible accommodation. We're giving ourselves the best possible giving ourselves the best possible environment. Yeah. It's like it's like giving the best possible environment for a new formation, basically. At the moment, we may have already formatted ourselves into thinking, I'm this, I'm that, and some of us may be proud of it, some of us may not be proud of it, some of us may feel we are stuck with it, and some of us may be thinking, I just cannot bring myself together, or such things, you know. And so therefore, it's making the environment as neutral as possible. Yeah. And it's almost like any thought that arises, you know, any action that we may generate during this particular session of practice, meaning not now, but meaning the sojong session, which is now, of course, in this case, is for those of you who are practicing, is that it's like your birth. Yeah. And so therefore, of course, this may make us think that it's like a chance for redemption, you know. But in this case, it's nothing really to do with redemption. It's more about just allowing ourselves to be born in a way, yeah, rather than, well, not exactly reborn, you know, but just being born. And then every thought, in this case, will matter. Every action will matter. Every interaction will matter. Matter in a way that it begins to form, you know. It is, yes, by saying it will matter, it will form, yes, it is dissolvable, but only for now, yeah, only for now, because we are still in this conditioned existence, yes. So yes, good habits may be developed, but it will come to an end also, each of our good habits. But in this case, because the way we have neutralized the environment, meaning in this case, I haven't said it, which I should have said it, of course, is that the motivation to neutralize is none other than compassion, of course. None other than to benefit others. And so therefore, that's what I mean by the way we have neutralized the environment. Then anything that is born out of that is, how to say, it's beautiful, because now, for the first time, we are able to appreciate the dissolving aspect. Meaning, like I said just right now, even a good habit may dissolve, but in this case we can appreciate like we want to, or like we all wanted to, you know. We have common sayings that, well, actually impermanence is beautiful, or a sunset is beautiful, or I don't know, certain aspects, as long as, you know, commonly saying, as long as it's not close to home, anything outside home that is dissolving has its beauty, you know. Now finally we can say that, yeah, without regrets, because it is born out of compassion. And so therefore, now, after the Sojong or during the Sojong, then if any good thoughts arise, we can appreciate it, we can rejoice, and we can accept that that too will diminish, you know. Yet at the same time, no regrets, because, well, or why? Because of this conditioned existence. But we made good use of it, you know, and the good habits that formed, that mattered, you know, matter, you know, solid things, or what we say is tangible, you know. When they begin to matter, then it can be appreciated, because we know that for the fact that it mattered, it formed, it generated, it is bound to dissolve. Yet at the same time, it had a meaningful course, you know. And then we're onto something, maybe, yeah. And so therefore, these are just ideas, of course, but hopefully it will be of some motivation. Yes. So that's why now, for example, in this case, if you do Chenrezig, it's one of those thoughts. Yeah, one of those things that we will try to matter. Yeah, by giving birth to the idea of compassion. You know, out of compassion, we generate compassion. Because the motivation of Sojong, in the morning during the sunrise, when you take the vows, it is supposed to be for the benefit of all sentient beings, so out of compassion. And now what we are doing, what are we doing? Chenrezig practice. And again, it's that of compassion. And so compassion out of compassion, so to speak. And so therefore, it's in this case, it's a good mattering, you know, because we know that at the end of the session, we have to let it dissolve. No matter how good the session was, no matter how good the practice was, so yes, like that. Did it make sense? Little bit? Yeah? A little, yes, that's good. Yes. You want to ask something on that, or is it clear enough? Of course, if I give you the floor, then you'll begin asking about all sorts of things, which is okay, yes. But if you have understood a little bit, or if I was able to convey it good enough, then that's good enough. Yeah. Then we can do the Chenrezig meditation. So I think today it's good enough. Yeah. 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 So then let's try to meditate on Chenrezig. In this case, we are trying to focus on four webs, because it's the four-arm Chenrezig. So 4 nets. Yeah. So there's a lot of room to breathe. For example, if you think about Chakra Samvara, then there's a lot of net, yeah, and it may be suffocating. So the more the arms, the larger the net, but sometimes maybe we are ventilating too high. Then accordingly we need a large net, to compensate. Yeah. That's probably the meaning of various practices. Yeah. And I wish you, all of you, a good evening. I will see you all tomorrow. And so, if what I said had some meaning or made sense, then if what I said had some meaning, then use it accordingly. Hopefully it will be of some benefit. Otherwise, the practice itself, of course, in between the formal ones that you may be doing, and they are all, of course, foolproof, and so therefore there is that guarantee, because it's not made in the recent years, or in the recent eras or something like that. It was made a long time ago, so it's foolproof. So I would very highly encourage all of you to do it that way, and then when the sun rises, then you the net is off. Yes. And then once again, it is completely your privilege to put on the net once again, and to once again to see how it looks like, just like, reality, never the 2 days are the same, and so therefore if you practice the Sojung again, the way you see things will not be the same again, it will be again completely fresh, completely new. And maybe along that line you may recall certain things that you have been practicing for a long time, and so therefore it will make sense, So it's not trying to cherish something old and to preserve for a long period of time until the end of time, or until the day of reckoning or something like that. Instead, it's the method may vary, but nevertheless it's more or less the same. But of course it's not for the method that we practice, and we use the method to see the reality, and the reality or the nature of our mind is such that not 2 days is the same. It's constantly sort of doing its own thing. It's not to say it's getting better, of course, or getting worse. It's just it's doing its own thing, you know. It's being itself, and so therefore it's completely different. Yes. And so when we don't realize that, then we say, "I thought I knew you," you know, but you're not the same. That's because we kind of neglected that fact that it's always fresh, you know, it's always new, and so therefore friends are still friends, but nevertheless it's how to say, it's the friends are what you put in the tube and what comes out of the tube. So therefore what we put in the tube tonight or tomorrow morning makes a difference, you know. And so therefore, but it hasn't changed at all. It's the same thing. And so therefore, that acceptance, you know, is important. And so therefore, observation, as I said, watching, as I said, not today, but today I've used the word observation more, is to see that, yeah, it's just into the tube, out of the tube, you know. It's kind of accepting that, well, that's same old, you know. But nevertheless, not to say it's same old, and then to get bored, but to kind of be excited in a way that by the next sunrise, what will come out, you know. It's not a lottery, but nevertheless, it's completely different. Yeah. So, no promises will be held, of course, not broken, but sort of nothing will be sort of held, because well, I said tube, but probably a better way of saying is, sometimes there's this English expression by saying, I am what I eat, you know. In that sense, tube, you know. So similarly, I am what I think, sort of thing. That's why I said, even if it's a good thing, it will dissolve, because it will come out, you know. So, if you can be kind of excited that even though today I ate something spicy, tomorrow that spiciness will come out. We know it, of course, but we can be excited about it in some way. How it will come out, you know, because it's not, you know, it's not a straight tube. Yes, yes, it's here, but then it goes in so many different ways. Yes, the liver, the kidney, the lungs, you know. We don't even know how to dissect the liver into different compartments, you know. And then just a bit of cinnamon completely changes the masala, yes. So then the end result of how it comes out is very unique. So it's very exciting, yes. So that's why I often think the bathroom should be in good condition to be able to see, wow. We can even be a slight superstitious about what kind of shape it came out, you know. Is it a good sign or bad sign? I don't know. Yes. So yes, in that way, it's a reason to live for, you know. But if you skip that, then it's of course boring. We know that it's gonna come out, you know. Yes. So, but of course, I won't try to connect that with what goes in for good reasons, I suppose. But anyway, so yes, the thing is we know, yes, and so probably there is some link for that, to that, by saying, using terminologies like emptiness and Dhammakaya and so on, you know, we know, actually we know. It's not that we don't know, we know. Yes, it's we know, yeah. Yes, yes, sorry. We know, but we want to make it interesting, yes. We can make it not interesting, you know, and make it a source of, I don't know, emotions, yes. But we can make it interesting, yes. And so therefore, we can turn that into a nice surprise, yes. Yeah. Okay, then thank you very much. I wish you a good evening. I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you.